If you like the idea of dividend stocks but hate the idea of waiting forever to get paid those dividends, then this series is for you.
My precious.
Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if it's your very first time here. My name is Troy, and in this series, I spend hours doing research to find the hidden gems of the dividend world so you don't have to. For example, this week, there were 75 stocks that had an ex-dividend date between July 14th and July 18th of 2025. 25 of those stocks showed that they can not only pay, but grow their dividend for at least 5 consecutive years, and only 6 of those stocks were able to make the risk of investing into individual stocks worth it by also outperforming the S&P 500 over a long period of time. I then took those 6 stocks and picked my 5 favorites to share with you guys today.
Sharing is good.
Now, it is going to be important that you guys put this series on your calendar and tune in each and every Friday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time when this video goes live, because every single stock from today's video is going to have an ex-dividend date of this coming week, which simply put is the date you must own the stock before in order to get the next dividend from that company.
Pardon the interruption.
And really quick, before we begin, just as a side note, I did go back in every video I made in the past in this series and put the episode number that I'm going to reference in today's video. I put all the episode numbers in the beginning of every video. So if you guys ever want to see really young Troy or really bad edited videos, or just don't believe me that I mentioned this stock in that video, you can now do so, but do so at your own risk. With that being said, if you guys wouldn't mind taking 1 second to tap on that like button, as that's one of the things that tells YouTube I'm doing good work over here. But now let's begin this week's list with number 5, which is American Financial Group, stock ticker AFG. Including today's video, this is now the 5th time I've spoken about this stock right here in this series, including 3 selections in a row. And if you go way back to episode 4 or July 8th of 2022, that was the very first time I spoke about it. AFG is not having a good run recently, which knocked it down a few pegs on this week's list, but it still has some solid longer term numbers, so let's take a look at those. AFG is a quarterly payer in the financial sector, paying $3.20 per share per year with a forward dividend yield of 2.51%. AFG has been paying and growing their dividend for the last 20 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 12.58%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 12.19%, and a payout ratio sitting at 27.06%. Now, at the time of recording, American Financial Group was trading 15.15% off of their 52-week high. They have an ex-dividend date of July 15th with a payout date of July 25th, and looking at their chart over the past 10 years, a single lump sum $10,000 investment into AFG would have grown into $39,412.52, which did outperform the S&P 500 over that 10-year period by $3,494.51. Next up, and coming in at number 4 on this week's list, is AbbVie, stock ticker ABBV. Including today's video, this is now the 9th time I've spoken about this stock in this series, including 2 selections in a row. And if you go back to the very first time I spoke about it, which was in episode 4 or July 8th of 2022, AbbVie is also underperforming since that very first mention, so let's see how this one still made the list. AbbVie is a quarterly payer in the healthcare sector, paying $6.56 per share per year with a forward dividend yield of 3.47%. AbbVie has been paying and growing its dividend for the past 13 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 5.59%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 7.24%, and a payout ratio sitting at 46.88%. Now, at the time of recording, AbbVie was trading 13.44% off of its 52-week high. They have an ex-dividend date of July 15th with a payout date of August 15th. And looking at their chart over the past 10 years, that $10,000 investment would have grew into $42,139.72, which outperformed the S&P 500 by $6,221.71. First one up on the podium this week, coming in at number 3, earning the bronze medal, is Alamo Group, stock ticker ALG. Including today's video, this is now the 4th time I'm mentioning this stock in this series, including 1 selection in a row. And if you go back to the very first time I spoke about it, which was in episode 18 or October 14th of 2022, despite an average annual return over 21% since that first mention, ALG is still underperforming the S&P 500 since then, but let's go ahead and dive into the numbers right here anyway. ALG is a quarterly payer in the industrial sector, paying $1.20 per share per year with a forward dividend yield of just 0.53%. ALG has been paying and growing its dividend over the last 11 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 20.51%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 17.51%, and a payout ratio that makes it all super sustainable because it sits at 10.46%. Now, at the time of recording, Alamo Group was only trading 0.35% off of its 52-week high. They have an ex-dividend date of July 16th with a payout date of July 29th. And looking at their chart over the past 10 years, that $10,000 investment would have grew into $43,660.11, which did outperform the S&P 500 by $7,742.10. And really quick, before we get to the rest of the list, earlier in the video I told you guys that a like was one of the ways to help out the channel. The other way, again, still completely free, that you guys can help out the channel is using the comment section down below. Use it to let me know what you guys think of this week's list, if you guys own any of the stocks from this week's list, and more importantly, if you do own any of them, how are they doing for you? But now let's get to the rest of the list. Next up on this week's list, coming in at number 2 with the silver medal, is First United, stock ticker FUNC. Including today's video, this is now the 4th time I've spoken about this stock right here in the series, including 3 selections in a row. And if you go back to the very first time I spoke about this one in episode 83 or January 12th of 2024, finally, we're on the right side of the market with this one, and it just took more than 37.5% since my first mention to get it done. But let's go ahead and check this one out right here. FUNC is a quarterly payer in the financial sector, paying 88 cents per share per year with a forward dividend yield of 2.6%. FUNC has been paying and growing its dividend for the last 8 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 12.75%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 12.38%, and a payout ratio of 22.28%. Now, at the time of recording, despite that outperformance I just told you about, First United was trading 20.45% off of their 52-week high, so possibly an opportunity here. They have an ex-dividend date of July 18th with a payout date of August 1st. And if you look at this chart over the past 10 years, you can see that FUNC would have had a total return of over 400% and would have outperformed the S&P 500 by $14,116.50. And here it is, you made it to the stock you must know about going into next week. Coming in at number 1 on this week's list is Williams-Sonoma, stock ticker WSM. Including today's video, this is now the 10th time I've talked about this stock in this series, including 6 selections in a row. And if you go back to episode 5, which was the first time I spoke about it, or July 15th of 2022, Williams-Sonoma, in just under 3 years since that first mention, has brought back almost 180% total and more than 41% per year, which is more than doubled the S&P 500. So let's dive into this juicy stock and learn some more. WSM is a quarterly payer in the consumer discretionary sector, paying $2.64 per share per year with a forward dividend yield of 1.52%. Williams-Sonoma has been paying and growing their dividend over the last 19 years. They have a 3-year dividend growth rate of 19.33%, a 5-year dividend growth rate of 19.82%, and a payout ratio sitting at 27.69%. Now here's the opportunity, because Williams-Sonoma at the time of recording was trading 21.27% off of their 52-week high. They have an ex-dividend date of July 18th with a payout date of August 22nd. And checking out their chart over the past 10 years, including that drop I just mentioned, you can see that total return of over 430% with an average annual return of over 18%, and they would have outperformed the S&P 500 by $47,774.61. With that being said, and before you guys click off, there are 3 dates that you must remember before you guys leave. Today's video comes out on July 11th of 2025. The earliest ex-dividend date from today's video is going to be on July 15th of 2025, meaning your decision is going to be due by July 14th of 2025 if you want to make sure you're first in line to get the very next dividends from any of these great companies. With that being said, you 100% missed every ex-dividend date from last week's list, but if you're still in the market for 5 more high-quality dividend stocks, you can check that video out right here. But until next time, see you.